Welcome to podcast.
Let's go.
Something.
I think it's 11 or 12.
12.
We're always going to have an or in our numbers.
Yeah. So, Harrison, Lilly, Alivia Roberts, if you find us amusing, interesting, or entertaining, we would ask that you give us a subscribe and give us a like. We typically do these on Saturdays. We release them. We make a drop on Thursday.
Whenever Connor decides to.
No, he's pretty consistent that it's Thursdays, right?
My ass, Connor. What text did I have to send to you this week?
Oh, that was for your Facebook post.
Same.
No. Hey, look, what I would like to point out is I tend to get consistency from people that you say aren't consistent. I think it might be a you challenge.
I said.
Oh!
Off. Oh, man. Anyway, all right. So, fun fact.
Fun fact.
That was rude. No, I'm kidding. All right. So, our reels got more traction this week than average.
Yes.
And I'm going to say it's because I was wearing a sleeveless shirt. I think
it was the guns.
I think the ladies of Northeast Louisiana have recognized who the most eligible divorcee is.
That's right.
I put them on the YouTube shorts. There was one person and he was like, "Can you buy a shirt, dude?"
Oh yeah.
You can leave it. I don't care. You can whatever they say. I really don't care.
Well, this is the interesting thing. It's always funny to me when people do say ugly things or troll and I'm like, you realize it took more effort for you to put something negative. With that said, it helps us.
I don't care. Yeah, like
it works.
Random people from Connecticut talking about me is like, cool. We have traction in Connecticut.
That's right, yeah.
That's awesome. That was
so.
But anyway, though it actually our reels got more traction. And I was like, the only difference was me not having sleeves on. So whatever. I'll just
guns.
Look. If 1 million people watch and subscribe to this thing, I will do an episode naked. I do not care.
Can I have an objection?
We'll put on blinders. You can look at the wall. I don't care. So anyway, so something happened this week.
Okay.
It was bad, but it was good. So I had my tree contractor out here. I'll say his name. I don't think he'd mind. He actually may mind a little bit, but I don't care.
Let's not use his name. Let's say a tree contractor. And later, if we want to give him a shout out, we will.
Schmoshchen Schmorm. For anyone who liked movies in the early 2000s, you'll know what that is. Anyway, Austin Storm Services. All right, so he was out. I'm about to get a pool at the house that I'm trying to sell, so I'm just going to keep improving it and raising the price until no one buys it. Yeah.
But that's the thing is, you're saying you're not actually
I'm not
trying to sell it. You just need to. You're keeping it. It's yeah.
Anyway, you know what realtors should do? They should all list their houses for under market value and take the leads. I promise you, if you see every realtor at THLT's house go on the market for under market value, it was a strategic plan, and no one's selling anything. Would that be unethical?
Yes.
Would it really?
Yeah, because the thing is,
what if I create a bid war and there is a price at which I will sell anything in my portfolio?
That's right. Well, this is the challenge, and I don't. So, this is going to be a broker question, but I do believe, if you have if somebody brings you, let's say, asking price,
you do not have to answer.
No terms, and all of that stuff.
Nope.
I find whether you have to or not, I find that there's a little bit of ethical, because we had a client recently. You had a client that they got everything they want and they're like, oh, I want more, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I think there's whether it's in the ethics, I think that's kind of crappy.
Nope. So for instance, I have in the COVID boom, I strategically listed houses. If it was worth 180, I'd list it for 175 and would get 190 to 200.
Oh no, I agree
with
that.
It was the strategy was strictly to create multiple offer situations and a bid war effect.
Yeah.
You can do that on a mass level. There's absolutely nothing unethical
no, that's not the unethical part for me.
What's the unethical part?
I think that you actually think that you should. I think a lot of times people, when they go on the market, they price it too high because they're hoping somebody will try to talk them down. And I'm like, you just
most sellers are themselves because they lose all traction because with today's modern internet technology and how readily available information is now to the consumer, consumers now have a somewhat educated opinion to an extent.
Yeah, so that to me, and you have okay, if you want top value, you want to
list your house 5,000 below market.
Well, you want to well, maybe it might be less, it might be more, but you want to strategically price.
I'm talking about in the average price for Northeast Louisiana.
Now,
if you're in New York, it might be 100,000 under market, right?
But yeah, you want to price it to create like a bidding war effect.
Yeah,
and you're not going to do that if only one person or no persons are going to bring you an offer at that price. Yeah, if you kind of put yourself off the knee.
Yeah, if you get an offer at 3 months, like that's not.
That's right. We're talking like an immediacy, like there's a strategic strategy.
Now it's who's the most hard-headed, the buyer or the seller. That's how the negotiation is going to be won or lost.
But yeah, like if you can get more people, it's going to give you more money. Like that's just
every day of the week. Fact. Yeah, because when you create competition inside the market, prices go up.
That's right.
Yeah, and I wish the average consumer can understand that. They truly just don't get it.
That falls on us though, because I think we don't educate enough about that.
I do my damn best, but for whatever reason, everyone thinks they're an expert. I don't even know why people hire me sometimes. Like if you're not going to listen to me, go pay Joe Blow down the road who sucks and is cheap.
But I think that goes back to kind of the conversation we were having last week. What is your definition of communication?
Oh, do we have to do this again?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Just for a second.
I said it in the last one.
Did you?
I did.
No.
Someone who communicates effectively and honestly. Yeah. That was my answer.
We didn't go there.
Yes, we did. I watched the episode yesterday.
Okay. Well, then my bad. With that said, that's actually...
my friends, was effective communication backed by facts.
Well, the interesting thing, so effective communication, it's on me. So if I say something to you and I don't get the response or the understanding, I can't say, well, Harrison didn't do what I want him to do. No. Then I didn't effectively communicate with you. Mm-hmm. I have to go back and look at what did I say? How did I say it? What am I missing so that you could understand? And effective communication is on the person communicating, not the person they're communicating to.
So I agree with the ideology, and yet its actual application is different at a listing appointment.
No.
When's the last time you went on a listing appointment? Back in my day.
Oh, hell no.
We showed up and we had a binder for all the houses.
Hey, I will go head-to-head with you any day. Matter of fact, what if we did that? We will have some. I'll go head-to-head with you any day and I'll win.
Okay.
I'm Playboy. We're a little competitive.
Hey, but seriously, how were those binders? Were they awesome or what?
I didn't use binders. I was on the cutting edge.
Had skeleton keys for their lockboxes.
I did that old. Oh, hey, we found another puppy. 1 second. Come on.
They can hear. They hear us, so they sit here at this door.
Hey, Miss Izzy.
What up, Izzy? Olivia brought all her dogs to my house. All how many? Is it 6 or 7?
6.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, and they're not small dogs. And to backstory, so I have a swarm of bees that have decided to live in the wall, the backyard wall of my house. Mm-hmm. And so we were looking for somebody that could come. We don't want to kill the bees.
You should have gotten Charles. He's a beekeeper.
Well, hey, how did I miss that?
I don't know. I'm telling you, it's one of the most interesting things about Charles. We didn't talk about this. Charles is a beekeeper. He farms honey.
Well, now I'm very sad about this.
And he has great honey. He gave me a jar last year.
And he's handy. Oh, see, now I'm very sad. So I want some pollen from him. Mama likes the pollen because it helps with allergies. You put it in your...
You microdose?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyways, we are... Oh, I thought you saw maybe like another dog.
Oh no.
So he's having to cut out the back of my house. It's like a wood frame house. So you got to cut it out. He's going to get the bees out. And thankfully, they're very nice bees. Like they've been living there for months while we were trying to find somebody because I didn't know Charles did it.
Mm-hmm.
And
then Marvin's going to patch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing, this guy who's not charging us anything because he wants the bees.
He was going to bring him to his bee farm, I assume. Yeah.
And so, but we told him, we'll pay you whatever because I think that's a really cool thing. But anyway, so he's out there doing that right now. Well, I didn't anticipate him coming this morning. So, I knew it was coming. It doesn't matter. But so I had to bring all my dogs somewhere so they didn't bother him and they didn't hear all that in the backyard. And so, loaded them all in the truck, came to Harrison's. They're in the backyard. And so far, 2 has
just the miniature dogs.
Yeah, it's the miniature dogs. So the Jack Russell and then Izzy, where are you at?
Some sort of a long-haired
If anybody knows what breed she is, we would be happy to know. This is Izzy. She is a sweet, sweet puppy.
That
Beautiful
dog
puppy.
is a super mutt.
Super mutt.
No,
That's right.
that's actually a term. Did you know that?
Heinz 57 is what we always said.
Okay.
She's super mutt. Woo!
Yep.
She's a super cool dog. We have no idea what she is. I've had her for years. She's got gray, but she's only 10.
It's about time to start graying. So super mutt. Fun fact. So this girl I was dating, she had a lab. So after she got a divorce, in the divorce, she lost her dog because it was technically his dog, and she was really sad. And so all of her nurse friends went and got her a dog that she did not need. But she loved that dog. He was a good boy. I liked him. I miss him actually. So she was like, I have no idea what he is. Like, we knew he was a lab mix of some sort and maybe had a little bulldog in him, but we were curious because like there were so many different traits. So I went and got DNA testing for him.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I can't remember. I'd have to go back through our text messages that I've probably deleted and blocked. But it was like 9% super mutt. Which basically just means they got no idea what his hood rat mom or dad was doing in a back alley. Like, just crazy.
You love who you love.
And all right. So, all right. What do you?
So I want to go back to this communication piece.
Shit, I was trying to get out of this.
No. So communication is the most important. Okay. So 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Ooh.
If you haven't, you should read it and do the workbook. That's what makes it the best. And so we're going to do that at work. And
Are you struggling?
I'm struggling. I can't find what I need to find, but I'm going to find it. And I'm going to make a separate video about this. And, this is the seek first to understand, then to be understood. So intent, listen to understand, plus
That's good.
skills.
Seek first to understand and then to be understood. Listen first, speak second.
Yeah, it's listen to understand. How often do we listen until it's our turn to talk? I'm never guilty of this.
Yeah. So it's like the practice active listening.
Yes.
And so my version of active listening is ADD's best attempt. And so it's like, absolutely.
Yes.
And I'm like nodding my head, right? But that actually, like, if I'm being honest, that's my version of like lip service, and I am probably thinking about 3 other things while you're talking. I actually did that in the listening point the other day.
Yes.
They were talking for like 20 minutes straight, and I think I was thinking about something else.
Well, so that you'll notice a lot of times.
Zoned back in as they were asking me a question. I was like, oh, of course we will. Yeah. No idea if I answered that correctly.
And again, some of the ADHD, but that's part of where, when I'm working with people with ADHD or myself, like, I have to anchor myself. So if you're talking to me and I really want to like listen, I'll usually take notes, not because I'm ever going to reference those, but it actually keeps me with you. But so seek first to understand, which means intent, listen to understand, plus skill to reflect feelings in words. And then to be understood, the intent is to seek to be understood, plus the skill to state your point of view. So, because we typically listen, or when we look at seek first understand, evaluating, you judge and then either agree or disagree. Because we typically listen autobiography. Somebody help me with that.
Autobiography.
But it is an autobiography, but when we listen biographically, I'm not going to attempt to say it again.
Autobiographically?
That's it. That's the word.
I've actually never heard those 2 words put together.
Oh yeah, that's a real word.
Oh, okay.
So we tend to respond in one of 4 ways. We evaluate, we judge, and then either agree or disagree. We probe, we ask questions from our own frame of reference. Advising, we give counsel, advice, or solutions to problems. And we interpret, we analyze others' motives and behaviors based on our own experiences. One of the things that I loved...
Can I say something real quick? Because I don't want to forget what I want to say. I wonder if that would be a really good thing. Like if you're going into a sales presentation for a service, is to say, guys, I have 2 goals here. First, I want to seek to understand, because I want to understand why you want to sell, how you want to sell, what this means to you. And then secondly, I want to be understood, because I am going to come up with some great solutions for you guys.
And
that sounds really good.
It does. And we just got on recording. And this is why I told you that I would go head to head on any listing presentation with you.
Why? Because I'm going to smoke your ass.
No. Because I say that. because you tend to focus on your knowledge and sharing what they don't know. They don't care what you know until they know that you care.
And you like to frustrate the piss out of people with emotions.
Because I want to find out. But
all I can think about is you sit on the throne of lies.
But part of the listing presentation is, hey, I'm here for 3 reasons. You're going to, and then but part of that is I want to, I want to understand where you're coming from, what the purpose of this. It's all about asking questions and being able to create the solution that works best for them based on, or educate them around what could prevent them from getting their end goal because they didn't understand something. My favorite thing in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where it's in every part of our world. But think about it this way. How often and we'll take a kid because it's an easy thing for everybody to understand, but a kid will say something like, I hate school. Mm-hmm. And what do we as adults tend to want to say? Well,
your ass is going anyway.
You're going anyways. Or, when I was in school, you wait till you're an adult. Because we're listening
autobiographically. Hold up. Actually, hey Siri, define autobiographically. Auto, not audio.
No, yeah, auto. It's spelled that. There's the word right there. So instead, and this is why kids or other adults tend to not appreciate when we say things like that, because it's annoying, but we're not actually listening. So if somebody were to say, school sucks, be like, oh man, I hate, before we ask questions, make sure that they understood that we actually heard them. So school sucks, or I want this much for the listing, or whatever. Be like, be over there with them. So, wow, so it sounds like school was really hard today. Well, yeah, and now they open up and they tell you more things, and
I tend to say, get over it, you're going to keep going.
That's right. And yet, but now there's no understanding. They can't actually go anywhere with that. So anyways, head to head, I'll beat you every day of the week.
I want a mixed bag of personalities and sexes.
Wednesday. Are you going to be at the office on Wednesday?
Probably.
How about we have a competition?
For listing appointment?
Uh-huh.
And then people have to vote on who wins?
Uh-huh.
I want a mixed bag of both sexes and personality profiles.
That's fine. Doesn't matter.
You know my presentation.
Doesn't matter.
You literally have it recorded.
Doesn't matter. First off,
and typed out.
But I had that long before.
I'm going to have to create. You did not. You had a presentation. You did not have my presentation. And whose presentation has taken more listings? Who has taken more listings?
Hold up, though.
Who has sold more houses?
In the amount of time that I was actively selling?
How many years were you in real estate? Actively selling.
Actively selling.
And I want you to include your first years too. Those count.
Yeah. Well, so I got my license in 2000 and...
It's okay, guys. We can fact check this shit.
I got my license in 2007. 2007. I did several other pieces, but whenever I got back in, or like I was always in real estate. But 2011, 12, 13, 14 were were when I was back full time without being a team leader, production coach, or anything like that.
All right, Alivia. So wait, how many years was it again that you were in actual production? I'll say your first year through the end of your actual production. How many years was it? I'm not going to count the years where you were a bold coach. Like, that's not fair.
Well, yeah. Well, that would be, so basically anything after 2015 wouldn't count.
Okay, so we started in 2007 to 15, so 8 years?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm at 8 years right now. Mm-hmm. You don't want this smoke. I already know what the numbers are. You don't want this smoke.
Well, but I was, and that's the thing is, I was a team leader during some of that time and a productivity coach.
You were a team leader in 2015?
No, I was in Alexandria as a team leader before that, dude.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, before you got
that sarcasm over here.
All that to say, I'm telling you, you don't want this smoke. Wednesday, I'm telling you, let's do it.
Hold up, let me see. All right, here we go. Sold Oh, Olivia, I'm about to hurt your feelings. You're not going to enjoy this.
Give me what number
You're not going to enjoy this.
Tell you if that's the true number.
You're not going to like this.
What is the number?
I'm going to hurt your feelings.
What is the number? I'm telling you, you're probably not looking at everything. What's the number?
All right, so this is every listing you have ever put in the MLS. Okay, are you ready?
No, because some of our team are, well, but some of our team listings had went under Avery's name for a while.
So you want me to include... Hold on.
Just on the years that we were on the team together.
Okay, so what years were you on the team together?
2011, 12... No, 11, 13, 14.
Okay, so... Avery. Oh, God. Avery is not a member of the board anymore.
Yes, it's not going to pull. That's what I'm saying. So it's not. But now, with that said, your team has definitely sold more than we did. Okay, I'll give you that. But then you got to remember, I then traveled and helped other people, and then I took people like, let's take Jonathan here. Jonathan, who's freaking amazing.
His numbers?
No, I'm not going to take his numbers. What I'm saying,
I'm going to say, I will call him right now. And be like, do you think this is fair?
No. What I'm saying is, like when I first met him, he was taking 5 to 7 listings a month, and we went to 20 listings a month because of.
I was at when I met you. What was I at 5? Mm-hmm. We're at 20 to 30 now.
Yeah. So part of it is, okay, what is Michael Jordan's coach's name?
Oh, hell.
I know this. Why can't I think of it?
I truly don't know.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, we both have computers in front of us.
Yeah, all right, here we go. Oh, Phil Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like a shooting coach, like a private coach.
No.
Oh, like
I meant
the
Phil
most
Jackson.
legendary head coach in the entire world.
So,
that guy.
I'm Phil Jackson. You're Michael Jordan.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm just saying, in our little span of the world, I'm not comparing myself, but in a little span of the world, I'm just saying that.
So what does that make my ex arch nemesis? I don't want to say their name.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to. From the old company.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was your arch nemesis.
It was.
Oh, what do you mean? What does that mean?
Relatively irrelevant to me these days.
Well, it would almost be like, well, we'd have to find somebody that you.
Yeah, I'm not calling him a villain, but he was the villain in my story.
That's right. We're villain every story.
Yeah, I'm somebody's. I'm multiple people's villains.
Yeah, it'd be like the Larry Bird.
Meh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
If Michael Jordan is Black Jesus, does that make Larry Bird White Jesus? By the way, I didn't come up with that. That's somebody else did. Just so
I do not know I don't follow basketball that close. I couldn't answer that question.
Larry's one of the greats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite is to listen to some of the basketball players when he talks about like how because they all talk shit to each other. Like it's part of that competitive nature.
I found a rowdy.
Oh, 1 second. Come on, Rowdy. Here, Rowdy. Rowdy. Come here, Rowdy. Over here. Okay, so, Rowdy, ladies and gentlemen, our little Jack Russell.
Yay. Welcome, Rowdy. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
They found all the holes in your fence. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those 2 dogs can just walk underneath the fence.
The rest of them are large dogs, so they'll be fine. Anyways.
So do we just want to go off of... We're just going to go off of gross numbers.
Okay. Well, and I can tell you, because the 100 and... Oh, see, then you'd have to do listings. I know that...
Oh, I'm only doing listings.
Yeah, that's where I don't know the number on that.
I do.
Mm-hmm. But those are not going to be accurate. But you can say that number. But I'm telling you,
there's an Avery in here. So y'all didn't. Well, I guess if it was an agent on your team and Avery, then it was them two, and then you were left out.
Like it would split it and everything. So because even when I would want on the appointment with the way we had,
so how many? Just take a guess off the hip, and even think of your highest number. How many appointments in those 3 years did Avery? I mean, how many listings did he take that your name was not on?
One of those years, it would have been all of them. And then we went back to my name being on them. So like, let's say, but look, again, my highest year was to sell was 162. That was in 2014.
That's a cool quarter.
That's right. Like, you're at 400. I'm just telling you.
Whoa.
No, I'm sorry.
I had that 404 years.
Sorry. What I'm saying, though, is I went a little bit of a different direction, and head to head, I would beat you. Just saying.
I am Luke Skywalker. Mm-hmm. You are.
I am your father.
What?
Except that would make me Darth Vader.
I was going to call you Yoda.
Okay. I'll take Yoda.
I was going to give you a badass compliment.
I'll take Yoda.
Yeah.
So with all that said,
but hold on, I do. Hold on.
I do feel like you are amazing at what you do, and
Jesus.
When you bring in that other piece, you will not bring in the other piece, but when you lean into that,
I'm never going to bring the other piece. You want to know why?
Yes, you will.
Because I'm hiring the other piece.
I know, but but this is the thing is, it's not. This is in every part of our world that communication matters.
Yeah.
To being over there with the other person, not just in real estate. Like, this is every part of our world. Mm-hmm. We all need that. We all need to, when your daughter and your son, you want to be able to communicate in them such a way that, and you already do this well, and there's another level of that.
In the last 8 years, I have taken 1,082 listings.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
thankfully, in the last 8 years, you aren't going head to head with me. I'm just saying I'm really good at presenting. Look, I used to stand in front of a group of 150 people and get 150 people to pay $800 to spend 8 weeks with me. I'm just saying I'm really good at that aspect. I've spent a lot of time.
She's a wonderful coach, and she has helped me make a lot of money.
Yeah.
True.
And I'm saying that we can go head to head.
All right. So let's we got to hop on some business here.
So you said something's happened really well, or
bad
rather,
but it was good.
Okay,
it was all good. All right. So I'm having a pool put in at my house, and so I've got Austin Storm Services over here, cutting down some additional trees. Now, he had already cut down like 30 trees in my yard. I had 7, 8, 9, 10 trees left in my backyard, but I need to reconfigure my yard and move some stuff. And so he came out. They did a wonderful job. They were super polite. They called me to let me know they're on the way. They called me every day that they left. Austin came by and did a walkthrough and a follow-up call.
Nice.
I wonder if his level of service is like that for everybody, or if it's because we're close and I give him a lot of business. I don't know, but I would like to think that if that's his standard practice, that's probably why his company is crushing.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a standard of practice, because it's well, let's say that for now, because your experience, if that's the standard of practice, so if you're a business owner and you're listening, that's a great standard of practice.
It is, to inspect what you expect. And I know, look, Austin is not the person hopping in the tree anymore. That's not his job. He goes out and bids jobs, and he's the rainmaker of his company. But in a world...
Drizzle.
Drizzle. In a world in the tree service where a lot of people are getting out because overhead's extremely high, workers' comp is ridiculous in the roofing world. I mean, the roofing, it's ridiculous there too, but it's more ridiculous in tree cutting. People are getting out of the business. Like, we actually have a tree service for sale right now inside of THLT. He is not only killing it, the dude's now running 3 crews. Other people are saying there's not enough business to go around, and he's running 3 crews and keeping them busy every single day. Mm-hmm. He's got a job every day for all 3 crews. So the dude's running 3 jobs at a time. And so, again, he called me in the morning to let me know they were here. He called me in the afternoon to let me know that they were gone. And then he did a walkthrough of the job. He was here for 2.5 days, did a walkthrough of the job, and said, hey, before I get paid, when can we do a walkthrough together to make sure you're satisfied? And I was like,
that's very cool.
That's a hell of a level of customer service, knowing that he's that busy. And so anyway, I am. It's day 2. They've already fallen all the trees. They're cutting them up, and they're hauling everything off. And I'm coming back from a listing appointment, and I look over to the right as I'm coming down that hill, and there is a excavator turned over on my fence.
I saw the picture.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad you weren't driving it. In my head, you were driving that. I was like, I'm just going to keep.
I know better. Yeah. I know better than to get inside that piece of equipment. Same reason I don't drive a motorcycle. Like, I will be dead. And so.
So you drive a slingshot instead.
Well, yeah, it's mostly safe. So I'm driving down. I look at it, and I just start laughing. Like, Austin's going to fix it. I'm not even worried about it. Like, I know his character. So there's 0% worry inside of me. Yeah. I don't even have to ask if he's going to fix it.
That's right. Yeah.
I just know he is.
That's right.
And so I'd like do a Yui in my front yard, and I go over there and I get out of the truck, and these guys are terrified. I mean, and I just start cackling like a hyena.
Yeah.
Rowdy. Yeah. And
that's what it sounds like at my house a lot.
Yeah. And he was like, you're not mad? And this isn't Austin. This is the guy who did that. Did the hoopsie.
Waiting for somebody to
and I was like, no, I'm not mad. I think it's hilarious. Now Austin's gonna be mad. And
I'm not having to pay for that.
Yeah. And so anyway, so he calls Austin, and Austin calls me, and I mean, he is just. I'm standing there. He doesn't know I'm standing there yet. And I was like, hey, I'm right here. It's fine. Like, it's
stuff
gonna
happens.
Be as long as they didn't mess up the gates. So this is an expensive fence. It's a custom, like,
it's a really
horizontal
nice
fence.
Yeah.
And but they as long as my bracing is fine and the gates are fine, we're looking at $300 or $400. And Austin is just, man, this is not how we do business. This is, we've never had one accident on any of our jobs. And, I think he's been in the business 5 years or something like that. He's like, we've never had an incident. I said, this isn't an incident. Like, I said, you got anybody hurt? Is your equipment good? My fence will be mended and we're good.
Yeah.
He called me probably 5 times that day to apologize.
Yeah.
He tried to take $3,000 off my bill for $400 worth of damage. I was like, bro, I don't want your money. I'm going to get a bill. I'm going to get a bill from my fence guy and my painter because they're going to have to come repaint my fence. And I said, and I'm going to hand you the bill. And as long as you cover that, I already know you are, so I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I was like, we're good.
Yeah,
but
stuff happens.
His ultimate level of accountability is just, to me, it was astonishing. He felt so bad. The guy that did it, he was scared out of his mind.
Yeah.
Hey, we were just happy. Like, me and Austin talked, and I said, man, worst things could happen. He said, no, you're right. He goes, that could have been bad.
We're going to actually post the picture here, if you don't mind, Connor, and because it's a funny picture, especially considering that no one was hurt.
Nobody's hurt. Everybody lived to see the next day. Everybody learned a lesson. If you're not an operator, don't operate.
But I am glad that you used his name, and I do think that even when
bad things happen, you see true character of people.
That's right, and you see, like, I would rather work with somebody that there's an oopsie and they fix it than like somebody that you don't know. I don't know. But like, obviously he's done a great job. There was an oopsie, but it's a 1 out of 5 year thing. And he made it right. And I think that's a huge thing to say about somebody. Like, that's awesome.
I think my point and what I really wanted to talk about is about leadership and ownership and accountability. And it is, in business, bad things are going to happen. When he came and he called me. It was the second time he called me. He goes, does this ever happen to you, Harrison? I said, yeah, I lost $3,000 today. Like, the moment I waked up. The moment I woke up today, I said, somebody called me. They couldn't sell their house. I've got $3,000 in their house and they can't pay me back. And so I can file a lien on their house. I'm going to, just in case they decide to sell down the road. Like, I want my $3,000 back, It's not I'm not mad at them. Like, they did not know.
Part of doing business.
They truly made a mistake. And I was like, dude, I lost $3,000 this morning. I was like, this is part of business. This is the reason that you have to charge, what you have to charge to stay afloat, because you've got to keep reserves. You've got workers' comp. You've got all these things. I was like,
Austin, do you want to come and do a podcast with us?
He will. Yeah, absolutely. He will. Here. Yeah, he's a great guy. So anyway,
I'd love to talk to him about his philosophies around this.
He's crushing it.
Yeah.
And so, I reiterated to him every time he called me. I was like, Austin, we are not judged on our businesses on when things are great. During COVID, I literally could do no wrong as a realtor. The conversations were easy. The negotiations as a listing agent were easy. It was easy. I'm not getting judged right now. Right now, when the market's changing and things are happening, this is when it's hard. This is when you decide who you're going to be in your business, what kind of leader you're going to be inside your company. Because that's going to set, I'm preaching to myself right now. And I'm sitting here thinking about my weeks and my attitude.
This is the great thing about coaching. Sometimes
you coach yourself sometimes.
Well, no, what you do, even my job as a coach, a lot of times my job is to ask a question or start a conversation. you know the answer.
Yeah.
I mean, but like that's part of is
sometimes you don't want to see the answer because it hurts.
Yeah. You got to do something different.
Yeah. And so you have to show up like a leader no matter what. And it's when things are bad and when people are all eyes are on you and you have the opportunity to make the right decision or to be an asshole. And when you make the right decision, that's when your character comes out. Yeah. And that's why Austin will continue to get my business and while I will continue to send my customers to him. His number one worry was, he was like, Harrison, he goes, I have 5 years, no incidents, no accidents, no whoopsies, no property damage, never a tree on anybody's house, nothing. And it happens to you, the guy who gives me so much business and you give me all your personal business and all that. And I was like, Austin, I am the perfect person for this to happen to because I know.
You have a huge track record of knowing who he is and what he does and how he takes care of things. Absolutely, yeah.
That's right. And I was like, man, I'm actually glad. Like, could you imagine, like, a Karen? You're getting smoked on Facebook. They're going to talk about the unsafe work environment of your employees or whatever. And we all know that's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you, like, I've got pictures of them working on my house and he's got one guy in a tree and 2 spotters. So he's paying a ridiculous amount of money for. He taught me all about the business while we were out here. So he's got a tree climber, and those guys they got the most dangerous job, but they're making great money. I mean, we said what we make. I was like, you're paying somebody that? Jesus.
We might be climbing trees later.
That's what I told him. I said, I'm about to lose some weight.
That's right. I'm scared of heights. The tree can't be taller. Like, this is as high as I can get.
Yeah. But then he's also paying 2 guys really good money. Just to watch the guy.
Yeah, to make sure he's
anything happens, get some recoil on a chainsaw or whatever, you got 2 people ready to roll, ready to help. And I was like, wait, so you got to pay 2 people? Watch when he's like, so technically it's 1, but like this is a high tree and I want to make sure my guys are safe. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like that's a good boss, you know?
That's right.
And so I was thankful that it happened to me and not to anybody else, because now he's going to get a victory story, a hero story, rather than a complaint over something that, look, this other guy did something that Austin specifically said never do, and that's on him.
Yeah. Well,
but now we all learned a lesson.
That's right.
And, you know.
And again, it's one of those, like today, on the way here, so again, I didn't realize I was going to need to bring all my dogs. I'm getting them in the vehicle. I'm trying to call you to make sure, like, we're good and all this whole thing. And I pulled out in front of somebody. I'd actually ended the phone call, I think, before, but my brain was in 15 different ways. And I pulled out in front of somebody. And they were very polite. They just ended up, and I pulled out fast, but they ended up, passing me. But they
You're talking about at your house?
At my house.
Oh. And you almost can't help but pull out in front of everybody at your house.
I've got a really weird curve, like, before my house. With all that said, so, like, I know that I've got a weird curve. I usually pay more attention, all this, but life happens. Mm-hmm. And so we have to give people grace. I know, like, when somebody was, my brother, we were talking about, like, my vehicle. My vehicle is like the family vehicle. I've got a Dodge Ram, Laramie, but sometimes you see me in it. Sometimes my mom's in it. Sometimes, so like the other day,
you were riding the Danger Ranger the other day.
Yeah. Well, it's so my, and anytime, like, so my mom took my nieces and nephews somewhere. Her vehicle's not large enough. When she goes to MD Anderson, she'll take my vehicle. And my younger brother and I were talking about it, and he's like, but if something happens, like, you don't get worried about it. I'm like, because I know life happens. Now, it would be different if you were, like, hot rodding my truck and you're, like, doing dumb stuff intentionally. I would be like, okay, you're not being safe. We need to have a conversation. But if you just... stuff happens. I'm not going to get mad at something that just life happens.
Rowdy.
Come back down here.
At least he listens. Hey, Bubba.
He does listen very well. There's not a comfortable enough spot here, apparently, for him. He likes very much comfort.
Up in a leather chair, man. Yeah. There's a massage chair over there.
But yeah, so I love that that's your attitude toward it. And because that's where you show up. And even like the guy, even though he knew not to do it in that moment, I love the saying, like, people are typically doing the best they can in that moment. Yeah. And in that moment, he either was thinking about something else, or he didn't realize it was a steep, or, like, stuff happens.
Yeah.
And thankfully he was, like you said, learned a lesson, and he's safe and he didn't get hurt. And
Everybody walked away. Everybody got paid.
Another day.
That's right. Also, to speak to Austin's character, I insisted on paying him the full bill. I don't write my own check, so he went up to the office to go get a check, and he snuck one by me. He went to Jade directly and got a check for I think it was like $1,500 less than our agreed upon price. And I sent him a text. I was like, bro, I said, whatever bill they send me, I'm going to pay it and I'm going to reimburse you the difference. Like, I don't want your money, anyway, but I appreciate, a lot of people are like, oh man, let me take something off the bill, but they really don't mean it. No, Austin meant it.
Did it.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to pay the
penance.
penance.
In the face of you going, no, we're good. He did it.
Well, he had to pay for a wrecker to come, safely remove it from my fence, and not jar the machine or hurt anybody. And then he had to spend another half day over here because that's how long that incident delayed the project. Yeah. So he had to pay payroll. He had significant costs in that. He probably didn't make any money on my job due to that. So let's talk about another instance. And this is inside one of my companies. So this is inside Lilly Roofing. Me and the partners, so Jake and Daniel, went to Shreveport this week. We're working on expanding into Shreveport currently, to go look at some locations. And, while we were over there, something happened with a roof, and it was a repair job. So just to be clear, roofing companies do not want your repair jobs. We don't. We have to pull our labor crews off of new installs, which is actually where we make our money. We do not make them on repairs. It quite literally is not worth it. We do it for customer service and to retain clients. And so, because of that, we have repair minimum. So if you bring us over there to replace one shingle, it's $500. Like, it's not, I'm not trying to be greedy, but like, we're losing money to come put on your one shingle.
I mean, whether we've got to be here for this time, we still got to, like you said, pull a guy from another job, put a guy there, get the material, and you can't just buy one shingle.
No, you got to buy a bundle.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Right. And so that kind of leads into this. So they had some damage on the front portion of their house. They wanted just one facet replaced, so just from the top to the front fascia, just this one side. And they had it was a 10 bundle job, and they had 5 bundles from their original shingle, and we bought of the same brand and same color 5 more bundles. Well, if you're not savvy in roofing, if it has a different lot number on it, it's going to look different. It doesn't matter if the same model, same year number, same everything. If it's in a different lot number, the dye, the granules is going to be a little different. So the roof goes up, and there's like a spot where you can tell where the shingles are different. Homeowner is just absolutely upset. Like, they're mad. They're calling Jake. Jake, of course, gets mad because he's like, we didn't want to do your job, and then you said, like, well, we're elderly and we're veterans, and of course they pulled at Jake's heartstrings. He's like, we'll do the job. So we do it. Well, now they want us to replace their roof for free. And so Jake is really upset. And he's in the middle of typing. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like, this is, we did it for less than a price that we wanted to do it for, because you pulled at our heartstrings and said that we're not helping military vets or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, number one is we have standards. And I support our veterans. We give away, we list houses for veterans. We do not list every veteran's house for free. But if we have listed multiple houses for veterans who are just having hard times in life, and we have absolutely just eaten it to help them out. We have given roofs away to veterans. Somebody who didn't have insurance on hard times, and their roof is dilapidated and they're getting leaks in their house. We have replaced those for people for absolutely free. We ate it. We just, as a company, said, hey, we're going to lose $8,000 today. Just because that's it's just who we believe we should be.
We get to choose that. Yeah.
Yeah. And, but he got manipulated. Like, these people live in a really nice subdivision. They ain't poor and they ain't broken. I don't feel sorry for them. Yeah. And I appreciate his service.
Yes.
So anyway, we accepted the job.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part.
Yeah.
All of the stuff before, and that's what goes back to that communication piece that I was talking about, because the moment we don't create that win-win, when something happens, we do, get reacted because we're like, man, I shouldn't have done it anyways. And so it's like, yeah, we're mad at maybe them or whatever, but we're mad at the situation.
It's a double negative.
We're mad
now.
at ourselves because we knew better to do that, and we did it anyway.
Yeah, that job had zero upside potential for us. We're not going to make money, and now that we have an additional repair on top of it, now we lose money and lose our crew for half a day.
Yeah.
And they were not very nice people. So we, and I say not very nice. I heard the phone call, and the dude like made a racial comment to my brother, because obviously a lot of our laborers, you know, are Hispanic, you know, and he said something racial, and so Jake got like, so my family doesn't deal with that very well. Like we have I have an adopted black brother. Inside my family just has never seen color, and so it triggers us when people are openly like racist negatively. Like, don't get me wrong, when me and Romero get together, there's some jokes that fly that I probably wouldn't want everybody to know that me and him are talking like that. But that's like, he's a Mexican guy. He's first generation.
But y'all are like,
we're close.
Y'all are close.
Like, yes.
And guys,
the things that man says about white people to me, you know,
but whatever. It's just jokes. It's two guys giving each other a hard time.
We're friends. This guy made a racial comment. And Jake did not, we just don't like that. And so Jake kind of got mad, and that's when the whole situation went really sour at that point. So anyway, Jake gets off the phone, and he's like, I'm not doing anything. He's like, they can do whatever they want. It's not worth it. We've already lost money on the job. I don't care. And I said, Jake, I agree. I don't like the guy either, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't appreciate when people talk like that to me. I said, but let me ask you a question. They insisted on using their shingles because they didn't want to pay the price, and they negotiated our minimums and all that, and you agreed to take the job. Did anybody educate them on the fact that those are different lot numbers and it will likely be mismatched shingles, or it has at least an opportunity to be mismatched, because we can't guarantee it either way?
That's right.
And he said, I don't know. And I said, all right, well, call the salesperson who went over there. And so he called the salesperson. Salesperson said, I'm about 75% sure, which we all know what the answer to that means at that point. It's either you did or you didn't, and if you don't know, then you maybe mention it in passing,
but you didn't mention it
at all.
It wasn't like, let's be real clear. Like, again, and I do think so that goes back to communication too, because I may have said it, but did I make sure that they understood it?
Yep.
Because that's a big difference.
Yeah. And so when he said 75% sure, I was like, that's a no for me, dog. It's a no for me, dog. And then and Jake, he got so if you don't know mine and Jake's dichotomy, we
imagine working with your brother.
Yeah, two very strong-willed, hardworking young men who always want to be right. They're always super competitive, and so he respects me and I respect him. We have worked through a lot of differences in the last year, a lot. Like,
well, you know how close I am with Avery and Chuck.
Yeah.
Those are the only people. Like, my mom has got between me and Avery before. She thought we were going to
threaten to go to your brother's house.
Oh, yeah. No. Like, my mom got in between me and Avery and by the way, I'm not dumb. I'm not a small girl,
Avery
but I'm 5'4". Avery's like a big man.
Avery's like 6'3" and intimidating.
Well, funny enough, this is the thing. He's only 5'11". He just looks, when you look at him, you think he's 6'3". He's that type of...
Maybe it's his cowboy heels.
No, it's his whole character demeanor.
Yeah, he looks like a big man.
Yeah, everybody thinks that. And I'm like, no. With all that said, so I'm not dumb. I'm not going to fist fight this man.
Yeah.
But my mom has gotten between us because she's like, y'all need to calm down. And we both look at her, we're like, no, this is how we were good.
Yeah.
I've had people when we worked together at the other company, they would come outside and be like, hey, people can hear y'all. And we're like, no, this is just how we talk. So yes, I get that. But with that said, like with Avery and Chuck, like I can trigger them more than anybody else. Like I don't know that I've heard Chuck ever yell at somebody.
Yeah.
Except me.
I've only heard Chuck say one mean thing his whole life.
Yeah. But again, we have now the same thing. I don't usually lose my temper, but if I'm going to lose it, it's usually in a conversation with Chuck. So with that said, I completely get that. But we are also...
You and Chuck are so similar.
We are... Avery and myself and Chuck and I, we are very, very close. And so I do, so it's... So I get that. But yeah, it doesn't take away from... And then I think, too, is there is and I don't know about with your brother, but with my brother, there is a level of safety, meaning... I know we might yell and scream at each other. And by the way, this doesn't happen very often, but like we'll get heated or we'll get passionate about something and want the other one to agree or whatever. And I know, like, as soon as that's over, I'm like, hey, you're still coming over for supper? You can grab the steaks or like, it's, there's a level of safety that I can completely be myself, and they'll call me on stuff and I'll call them on stuff. And so I think that's part of, it's actually, that's pretty cool that like that y'all may not know it yet, especially with Jake being so much younger, but like, pretty big deal that you have that level of like we can, or hopefully you guys have this, we could fight, we could argue, and end of the day, I got your back, you got mine. We
didn't for about 6 months. We had a rough time going and being in business together.
Yeah, well, that's storming to Norman.
Yeah,
you got to go through the storm. Avery and I went through the storm. Yeah. Chuck and I went through the storm.
We're at a great place now. Yeah. Like he and I are now talking again as brothers and being friends again. Yeah. So I'm very thankful for that, because that was a man,
it's hard.
That was really rough for me, because I don't even think Jake knows how much I love him, and how proud I am of him, because he is a hard ass worker. I mean, that dude, he just like me. Like he'll wake up and get to work at 6, and he'll work until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night.
He'd still be running and doing a triathlon.
Yeah, and then he'll do that too. So anyway, so let's get back to the lesson. Yeah. So we're in the truck, and I said, all right, let's have some clarity. Did we definitively 100% tell them multiple times there may not be a mismatch on your roof? Yeah. And so once we did our discovery, the answer is we cannot definitively say that we did tell them. And Jake said, well, Harrison, what kind of person doesn't know that 2 bundles out of a different place could be exactly? And I said, and
I've been in real estate for years. We've done, like that. Yeah, I would have thought that. I said, Jake, our parents have one of the best real estate minds as sons in the entire state. Go ask them a question about cap rate, EBITDA, like any of those things in selling businesses or real estate, and see what they have to say to you. Yeah. And he went, huh. And he didn't like it. Yeah. And I said, okay. I said, so if we have any DNA in this, what do we have to do? I said, our father's name is on that company. Yeah. Yep. We're going to act like our father would. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, we're going to eat it. And now we had a lesson as an ownership group about why we have repair standards, because your heartstrings cost the company money today. That's right. Well, and this is the interesting, it's not, yes, it costs the company money, but it costs you guys something in relationship with, like, I'm a big believer. I'd rather turn you down than let you down. Mm-hmm. And now with that, so, it lost y'all some of that. Now with the other pieces, what it gained you guys is now you can learn, you guys are going to be able to learn from that in your business and go, okay, so what do we need to educate? Why do we have that standard? When, if somebody says, hey, because look, not with the roof, but I needed to replace some of my floor. Mm-hmm. And it's just like the wood laminate, whatever. And we couldn't find any. Like where I bought it, they don't sell that kind anymore. So we had to get as close of a match that we could and all of this. And thankfully it's in this part of that. But, it's a pain in the butt. But mm-hmm. there is a reason for what you guys do. And so that puts it there. And then that gives y'all great movement when you guys are moving forward to say, this is why we do this. This is this is why we have the minimums. This is why we have that. And then when there's something like that, is getting people to sign off on it, mm-hmm. the client to, and then it goes back to communication, because making sure everybody's on the same page, the salesperson, the client, and all of those pieces, because that's where we usually have the biggest challenges. It's the communication.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And communication, character, and then just a standard of how you're going to operate your business. I totally believe in the net dollar. I am here to make I'm here to make money. I'm here to make a profit.
Well, you can't look, even Mother Teresa, because everybody, like a nonprofit, has to make money. Because mm-hmm. they have bills, they got to pay people to do things, right. They got payroll. Mother Teresa, we all, you can find stuff out, but Mother Teresa, we're all like, okay, she was a shining light of something, but she raised money. Now she may have lived at poverty level, mm-hmm. but for that organization to run, she had to raise money. Mm-hmm. Like nothing works without it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a negative.
Yeah.
It's just energy like anything else.
And so it was just really important to me because I saw 2 lessons in the same week, good and bad. I say bad, and yet when we went into discovery, we realized like, hey, we have DNA in this thing. And I think as a leader, as a business owner, if you have DNA in a problem, as a leader, it is your job to take ownership and fix it no matter the cost.
That's right.
You're going to take an L. Guys, if you're a business owner, or ladies, if you're a business owner, you're going to take L's on jobs. You're going to lose some money. And you have to get unemotional with the profit and go, hey, profit's great, and I love it. And yet, if I didn't earn it, I got to write the check sometimes.
So for anybody, Ted Lasso fans out there, loved the it's never the wrong time to do the right thing.
That's good. Ted Lasso is awesome.
I know, yeah. So I love Ralph McCurdy, our old broker. He used to say this, and I'm a huge fan, but he would say, if you mess up and all it cost you is money,
write
cut
the damn
the check.
Yep.
Make them whole. Do everything you can to make them whole, and then put it in your different system and move on.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me that a lot of, and I think it's because they're living in scarcity, right? It's the people who are not running businesses in a thriving manner. And I say that, but there's also business owners that live out of they use their business checking as a piggy bank.
Yeah.
And so they have no reserves. And then it's, well, I can't write you that check.
Well,
and now we're living in scarcity. And we had an issue in the roofing company, a guy out of Shreveport. He's lucky I didn't say his name. I don't say his name right now. He's had my $30,000 for 3 months, and he keeps giving me excuses to why he can't pay us. But I mean, the dude legitimately ran up $32,000 on our credit card, unauthorized, and we've given him. Look, I'm really nice. Like that $30,000 wasn't changing my life. Would I like to have it? Absolutely. But like, I was like, hey man, if you can't give it to us today, that's fine. Like, hey, give us $5,000 a month until we're whole.
Yeah.
Like, if we need more money, we'll let you know. But like, we're not hurting for it. We keep reserves. Our companies run debt free with reserves. We don't do anything outside of cash, other than buy real estate. And the dude just excuse after excuse after excuse, and like he's sending me his bank account information, and I'm like, dude, to do as much business as you have, when you're having to juggle just a few $1,000s in your operating account, he needs to go to a business class. And there are times where people would like to do the right thing and they can't. I do think I'm actually, now some people, yes, they'll make stuff up, or they'll send you stuff to just like push it off. I do get that. And yet, but it's one of those, if you can't, he screwed up, whatever, it's... Yeah, we weren't mad about the mistake.
That's right.
But now it's starting to look a lot like theft.
That's right. Well, and the thing about it is stay in communication with that person.
Yeah.
Send them something, even if it's like, you might go, I know you want $5,000. I got $50. I'm going to send it to you. But
yeah,
stay
50/50 is not going to work.
Well, no. This is a bigger death than a thing.
Yeah.
But stay in communication. Tell them you're going to do the right thing and do the right thing. So it's funny that you say that. So my nephews, they're 7 and 9. We go to Buffalo Wild Wings yesterday.
Gross.
And they wanted to go. I wanted to go crawfish. So, which we did that late. It was a fun day. It was fun.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of salt.
I woke up this morning. I'm like, oh, my fingers.
I feel it in my cheeks. Like I feel like I could literally press water in my cheeks.
Like my face gets even puffier. And anyway, so my nephew gets paid $2 every week. His job is to take the 9-year-old. He takes the trash can out to the road, and then the next day he brings it back in. And the driveway's not that long, but just something and so we were at Buffalo Wild Wings. He wanted to spend some money on one of those little machines. Well, I'd already given them $1 to split, and then I went, oh, I actually haven't paid you this week, and I happen to have cash. I said, here's your $2. Mm-hmm. And Fox, the 7-year-old, he says, well, he owes me money. And so I asked Levi, I said, well, how much do you owe him? And he said $14. He said, but I'm going to save up $100 and then I'm going to pay him. I said, let's talk about that. And so, I look, and of course we're talking to it like the level of a 9 and 7-year-old can understand it. I said, so we talked about the fairness of it. And if you owe him something, I said, you can't give him your whole paycheck, or, you may not choose to give him your whole paycheck. I said, but at least you could split it with him so that he knows. I said, and then even if you were only able to do $1 a week in 7 weeks, I said, but how long will it take you to save up 100? And you're going to be spending some of your 100, so you're not even waiting for 100, right?
I mean, 3 years later,
yes,
he gets $14 back, maybe.
He gave, so they did. They gave
Start teaching him what compound interest looks like.
That's right. And they gave him $1. Now, with that said, for these two little kids, most of the time, Levi gets paid, and Fox chose not to do anything, and he still buys Fox things or gives Fox money. So he's very, very fair. But in that moment, it was just a great teaching moment of, if you owe them, we need to make it right now. We need to have a conversation. We don't just, so I think sometimes it is because people aren't doing the right thing. Sometimes people are so, they need to go to a business class, a financial class. They need something that they don't have. They're just continue to make same bad mistake over and over.
You can quite literally just go listen to Gary Keller's podcast and get so many great business principles. He was, I think it was one of his first episodes. It's called Charge the Storm, where he's saying that buffaloes, the reason he called it Charge the Storm and Be the Buffalo, or whatever that saying was that he did, it was buffaloes do not run away from the storm because they realize that if we're just running in the same direction of the storm, that we're going to be in this storm for a really long time. So they charge the storm. They run through it because they know if the storm's going east and they're heading west at a high rate of speed, that they will be in the storm for a less amount of time. Anyway, during that same podcast, he talked about why business owners fail. They upgrade their lifestyle too quickly. And then they also use their business account as their personal piggy bank, which is huge.
You got to decide what you're going to pay yourself and pay yourself that.
Yeah, we've talked about it in previous episodes, especially the one with Scooter Howell. But one of the reasons that THLT has been able to go through all the market ebbs and flows, like I'll be very honest with you guys. Some people started some rumors that I was going broke and that I was going to have to shut down and whatever. At the end of 2022, I did have to lay some people off. I did have to lower my budget tremendously. Like I went from, for people who don't know, I don't care. I'll tell you anything about my finances. But I was spending upwards of $120,000, $130,000 a month on THLT. That's marketing, admin, all the stuff, all the things that we pay for. And I brought that down to like $75,000. Which included me, unfortunately, letting some people go. Some deserved it. Some broke my heart. Absolutely broke my heart. In fact, I sent one of them a message just a few months ago, and I said, hey, I don't know how that affected your family, but I want you to know that probably the hardest thing I've ever done in business is let you go. And I'm really, really sorry if that affected you guys negatively and that there wasn't greener pastures for you moving forward, because you were absolutely rock solid. You were a badass. Still wish you were in my organization. And I hope that one day maybe we can be in the same organization again today. But we had to do that. But I lost.
And that's the interesting thing, is if you don't, and that's the other thing I think sometimes, and we've all been guilty of this, but we hold on too long. And what we don't realize, and it's not about the person, but if the finances aren't coming in, what happens is we put everybody else's job in jeopardy as well, because you can, at some point, it's like when you're digging a hole, you get, quit digging. You got to figure out how to quit digging.
You got to stop the bleeding. And that's exactly what I had come to. So in right around somewhere in between 4 and 6 months, I had net lost $400,000. And it was to the point where I was like, there ain't a whole lot more money in the checking account. I'm about to have to start going into my real estate portfolio and refine out properties just to float the company. Yeah. Now, fortunately, I've made some really great real estate deals. And so there's equity, and my net worth is sitting in real estate for the most part. So there's plenty of money for me to float things. But I was like, but when does it stop? And now I have, I've been working my tail off 100-hour weeks, investing I invest over half of my income. I don't live to my means. I do drive nice vehicles, but I don't drive what I can afford. I don't do what I can afford. I live 3 or 4 steps below my means. And even after doing all that, I was like, I am quite literally not going to put myself back to zero to float some people, especially some weren't really, Like if they felt it and they knew that this was happening to me and they really cared, then they'd be out lead generating and helping me either create another business, create cash flow, do something, right? And nobody was. And so, and I'm not going to say nobody, but some people were not. And so anyway, all that happened. Where was I going with this? I would not have been able to withstand that blow.
Storm,
if I had not lived debt free, stayed below my means, spend below my means, all those things. We keep cash reserves. Yeah. We keep more money in our checking accounts than needed because we know that a market shift's coming.
Yeah.
If you're in real estate right now and you think that Q4 ain't about to be hard, that our lawsuit rules are about to kick in, that could be good or bad for some. It's going to be bad for some people in my organization because they're not listening and they're not doing the things that are going to cause them to succeed. It's going to be bad for a lot of people.
Well, yeah. Well, this is the interesting thing. Like we talk about shifts, and this is in every business. In real estate, we have a shift every quarter.
It really feels like
it. No, like that's legit. Like that is.
Yeah.
So it's always amazes me. It's look at the patterns of your business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean settle and make, then that's all I can. No. But look at the patterns of your business and then go, okay, how do I strategically make wise choices during these pieces? And don't be surprised because it's kind of, we were talking about this in the sales training we were doing on Wednesday. And then when I was at Blue Roofing on Friday, like if you know somebody's going to say this, or this is going to happen, what is your strategic plan?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, that I think, so if every time you're surprised or this thing happens 4 times a year and every time you deal with it, you act like that's the first time you've ever dealt with it, that's a problem. Like you have to go, okay, the way that I'm doing this is not effective or it's not the most effective. People have lived before me. Who can I go talk to? What can I go read? What can I go study, listen to, learn? So that the next time I'm not surprised all over again.
Yeah. In your business, because shift happens, right? Like, listen to me when I say that again. Shift happens. It is inevitable. It's going to happen in the roofing business. They're about to change the way deductibles are processed. Yeah. They just changed the way 1099 versus W-2. They just changed the rules on that. Shift happens, and that's not just in money, and that's not just in the market, but it's also in politics and rules and laws and all those things. You have to have a playbook. I have a playbook for growth for THLT, but I also have a playbook for a market shift where we got to get skinnier.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I don't want to do that. Nothing inside. I want to grow. I want to give raises. I want to hire more people. I want to change more lives. But the market doesn't always allow for that. And so you have to have a playbook.
Well, so sometimes, and I think this is huge, like let's say the market shifts. Let's say less houses sell.
It's already happening.
That's right.
Yeah.
So some of which I'm about to come out with Maze. For anybody that's interested, Ouachita Parish, Maze is about to drop for the market report, what's happening in the market. And I did that shout out and now I forget what.
For clarity's sake, you're about to drop a market update for May.
For May.
Yes.
For Ouachita Parish. But I was going somewhere before. Less houses selling. So this is the thing is sometimes what growth looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Is not going as far back as everybody else, meaning, so let's say that less houses sell. So let's say like last year we did 480
mm-hmm.
in a market that goes backwards. Growth that year might look like 425.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that everybody has to realize. Like, yes, every year would we like to do more houses, more units, but depending on outside things, it might be, did I maintain or create more market share
mm-hmm.
than I did before?
Yeah.
Did I create or did I, keep my profit here or not lose as much profit as I could have, right?
And so you have to pay attention to your market and know your market statistics in order to accurately calculate that. We look at year-over-year growth or reduction in the market, and then we look at our year-over-year comparably to the market. And I break it out per mega agent, per company. I do all those things to make sure, like the numbers show you whether you're winning or losing, and you need to know where you stand, or you may lose so slowly that you think you're winning, and then one day you wake up and you go, "There's nothing left for me here, not even profit."
That's right.
Ooh, that's so your brother actually said that to me. in a call. It almost made me cry when he said that. And he said, is there anything? Now, he was trying to get me to go do something in a large city. But he did make me realize that I have the opportunity to either expand vertically into other companies or I need to leave Monroe for real estate. Because what he was telling me, he's like, Harrison, he's like, do you realize like what your business would make in a larger city? I said, yep, I've already ran the numbers in Dallas. Just so everybody is aware, I would, if you translated my business in Dallas, Texas, which I'm already floating the expenses of a Dallas, Texas team. The subscription services don't change because you're in a small town in Louisiana. They price that for the large cities, and the small cities just get over it. My net income would be over $3 million in a large city.
Well, so again, so I've coached people as groups and individuals all over the United States, Canada, and it's always interesting. So like I will have a client that does 35, 40 transactions in Colorado, and they're making $1 million, they're profiting $800,000. And actually, so there's another video that if I can make everything work that we're going to come out, we're going to talk about, and it's basically realtors. Are they overpricing? Are they overcompensated? And
I would say in larger markets, like if you tell me that you sell 30 houses a year and you make $1 million, I roll my eyes at you and I go, you're overpaid.
Except, so this is the interesting thing.
Yeah.
They have higher costs. So like when they hire somebody, they got to they're netting
$800,000 on 30 units.
Yeah.
I sell 30 units sometimes in 3 months.
That's right. Well, but let's just, without getting into all of that, because if we're not in their market, I don't want to say that. But
if you're in a larger market, I want you to know that I roll my eyes at you.
Well, with that said, you can always move. Gene Rivers says, if you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree.
I like my people.
That's right. And so this is the interesting thing, though, is whenever we look at the compensation and things like that. So if you whenever this year stands out the biggest in my brain because it was such a vast difference. So in my GCI, gross commission income, and in our industry, like a lot of times you'll see we get awards based on how much we sell and things, and so it's always on the gross. So that year my 1099 was like $450,000.
What was that net?
$114,000.
Yeah.
And I still had to pay taxes. So it wasn't even just so I think sometimes
people get it is insane to me. I've recently had 2 realtors leave to go start their own companies. Unfortunately, I can't talk about anybody in a small town without everybody knowing who I'm talking about. So I'm not talking trash. I'm just stating facts. Both these people made a ton of money with me. When looked at their sales, calculated it, and I was like, and they have expenses now. Like they're hiring ISAs, they're trying to run the playbook, which, hey, good for them. Thank you for learning. I'm flattered, absolutely, not mad at you whatsoever. And going, how's that gross versus that net? Oh, you got, instead of a $2,500 net check, now you got a $4,000 gross check. But what's that real net at the end of the year? Yeah. And
well, that was it's very much, and again, like it's
enjoy them big checks.
Yeah, there are times where you've got entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs, and hey, if you're called to go do that, like that's fine. And everybody does at some point, or certain people do at some point. But the interesting thing it is, like I remember I was telling the story the other day. I remember whenever when I was almost 18, I moved out of my mom's house, and she was getting remarried. I wasn't a fan, and I remember it was the whole. We won't go into all the backstory of that. I will say this was funny is I was very much, and I think sometimes people work for companies or things, they do this as well. I pay my own insurance. I buy my own clothes. I don't need you. And then I moved out.
Yeah.
And
it's a
rent,
cold, hard world out there,
electricity, water, gas. So my brother and I, he's a couple years older than me. We moved in together. Thankfully, Christina rented us her trailer. Now we were in a safe place. She rented it way cheaper than she could have, and it was a big, nice one. But we was paying cheap, and but we didn't even have beds, so we slept on kindergarten mats. I worked at a coffee cafe, so we ate there. And my dad gave us a TV. So we had a TV with some antenna ears. We share a car, I had a car. But that was the funny part is it's you only see what you see. And what I saw was I'm doing this. And there's a lot more expenses in a business than you anticipate. Mm-hmm. And also when you're looking at it from somebody that's buying into it. So the roof, it's so expensive, or the commission's expensive, or those shoes are expensive, or whatever. When you start looking at everything and you're in that position, yes, I want to make a profit, 1,000%.
Yeah.
I'm in it to make a profit. With that said, there have also been months, I remember, and especially in this area, when we look at real estate agents, when a real estate agent in a bigger city, because they're doing less units to make the money, they may not need the admin that we necessarily need, because when you're looking at your goal is to do 100, 200, 300, 400 units, you've got to have admin. So you're not making as much and you're having to pay more. And we literally, when we were looking at our books, we knew at 162 units, we weren't breaking even. To make a profit, we needed to get to 200 units because we didn't need to add more people, but we couldn't get there without the people. Does that so you're in
it's the juggling game that I play every single day.
Right.
Is
every business
we need a new
has
subscription
that.
Service, Olivia, but I'm like,
business, but I make sure every time we add one, it brings us money.
Yeah. Some yet to be seen. Huh?
I've only added one subscription. Oh, I've added 2. That's correct.
If you include your marketing campaigns, 3.
Sorry. Okay. Fine. But this is the, but so every business, right? You're going to have, this is where you're like, hey, if I expand beyond this, there's going to be a time period where even though I'm doing more, my profit is going to be less. But if I can break through that, now my profit is more. So there's 100%. You're looking at all those pieces, all those moving parts when you're running a business.
Yeah, it legitimately is tough. Part of my stresses inside the company is that I'm not just the person that is selling a ton of real estate. I hate keep continuing to say this, but it just adds validity to the statement. I've sold more real estate in the last 5 years than everyone has, and I'm not just doing that. I'm also running a business. Now, thankfully, I have people like you and Amy and Jade and our executive team to help assist. Right. Now, we have an executive team now.
That's right. And then that's the other thing. So you're paying for that, right? So it's not, I will say that, if you ever are looking to work at a particular company, Harrison pays well. Now he expects a lot.
If you're
I think
awesome.
It's fair. And you got that's between Amy and Jade. Oh, I got the nicest text from Jade.
Did you?
So I love when I find out that people actually
her cup got filled this week. So she was talking about Tell Me Something Good Friday yesterday. She said, out of her, so we do Tell Me Something Good Friday. It's just part of our culture, and it's just, you got to say something good, whether it's work, business, family, whatever it is. And she said, I don't know if y'all know this, but my love language is words of affirmation. And multiple people either left me notes on my desk or sent me a nice text this week and just let me know how much they appreciate me. And she was like, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. You have no idea how that filled my cup. So I'm guessing her cup ranneth over. Well,
so this is the interest. So Monday, I get this text at 7:54 p.m. So number one, I think this is cool. We're not going to require her to listen to podcasts. You're not going to require her to listen to podcasts.
Actually, we're all about to read a book together, mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too. I haven't told you yet.
Well, no, I'm good with that. Because I have one that anyway, so yeah, we're good with that. So this, actually, no, we're all reading a book together. Everybody in the Rising Standards right now is reading a book together.
I'm supposed to be reading that book. I committed and yet have defaulted on my commitment.
Yes. We'll talk about that. Yeah. And but that it's making a big difference in their,
it's programming.
Yes. And so, so this was what was cool. So she texted me, and she said, I've been watching some of the podcasts and just saw the one where you talked about when we worked together and how it ended. Love you. I owe a lot of my professional growth to you. I said, I meant every word of it. You've always impressed me and continue to do so. And, but that's, so when we talk about somebody, you've done, and this is the other piece. I think sometimes when people are hiring, they're looking at how can I hire the cheapest? Now, do you have to watch your budget? You can't overpay, absolutely. But if you're looking for talent, if you're looking for unicorns, you can't say, how can I get on that minimum wage? Depending on the job and all that. But if you're looking for rock stars, Jade, rock star. Amy, rock star.
Melinda,
Jennifer,
Megan, Jennifer, dude.
Oh yeah.
Holy cow.
Oh, and
she's amazing.
Where, like, can I take any responsibility for it? Y'all had already hired her. I just said, why aren't you using her? No, I was speaking.
No, you did.
Yeah, I did.
You
But
did.
really, like, but it's and part of our culture is like, look, we expect everybody to, you've done a really good job of creating a culture of, yes, the expectations are high.
But the freedom is high, too.
The freedom is high.
Our staff, they don't clock in, clock out. They don't have sick days. They don't have vacation days. They just tell us
when they're going to be out and make sure it's covered.
And make sure it's covered, or make sure they bring out, we provide a work laptop for everyone to take home. The expectation is not that they take their laptop home and work. It's just like, hey, with freedom comes responsibility. You're an adult. We're paying you and we expect you to do this. If you do it, we're going to have a great relationship. If you don't, we're going to have a conversation. If we continue to have that conversation, we're going to have a parting of ways. We're going to promote you to friend.
Well, it's got to be a win for everybody. But you've created an atmosphere of, matter of fact, I was telling somebody else that I coach, and I'm probably going to invite him onto a couple of the end of the day, beginning day calls, because I've actually typically
I think you should actually do that inside your coaching company.
That's what
for business owners is let's start accountability calls within our culture.
I love that. Yeah, because there was
every company should do it. By the way.
Yes. Well, and the cool part is, I think too, when people hear the word accountability, they think, where, mom, dad. No. Accountability is, hey, I said I was going to do this. I did it or I didn't. Can you help me with that? Because it's funny, like, and you've created a very much an open, like, we were laughing because it was Thursday or Friday, I don't remember, but somebody was like, I'm not answering my phone on Saturday. Like, and they were being a bit extreme, but it was like we talk about the struggles and the hard things, because that's life. And you have to have that availability to do that. Yeah.
I posted this on my Facebook about accountability the other day, because that's a big thing for me. And honestly, I'll say that I think that a big reason that our company is so successful, our companies are so successful, is because one of our cornerstones and principles is accountability. And I wrote this the other day. I said, being open to accountability is saying that you're okay with someone inspecting what you expect out of your life. And that is just absolutely like being, when we interview agents to come onto the team, they're like, I heard you guys had to get on Zoom calls and get told what to do every day. Yeah,
they're actually very funny, and the person gets to say what they're going to do.
5-minute Zoom call. You get to show up how you want to show up. Nobody judges you. It does help us lead and help you. But people like, what is it about a real estate license that makes people selfish and think that they should be overpaid?
Well, no, it's not, because time-wise, that's not actually, I'm going to say that it's
the entitlement of that. No. I'm not saying that. Okay.
In my perspective, I don't know if that's a fair statement.
Hear me out loud. Let me break that down. A brand new person with no skills, no track record, no investment in themselves, and they compare splits or whatever. And they're like, no, I need more. And then you send them a lead and you go, hey, like, I'm going to take X percent. You're going to get this to work this lead. And then you're going to get some experience and we're both going to make some money. And then it is more often than not that people, they're like, oh, why would I do that? Like, no, I want the whole thing for myself. I'm like, okay, well then go get 0% of 100. Like, I don't care, but it is phenomenal to me, the expectation and entitlement of whatever a license brings.
Well, we don't have time to
go into that. Yeah, because it is. Yeah, I have an appointment in 29 minutes.
Yes.
And it's 30 minutes away.
Yes. So I'm not paying for your ticket. And this is the other thing I want to say about accountability. I think you said that, it's the expectation. For me, with the accountability calls, the way that you do them at your company, and the way that when I think about the way I coach with accountability, it is not that what it is you have a goal. You have a goal. That agent has a goal. This is how much money I want to make for my family. This is the time that I want to utilize
my goal
family.
is my goal is their goal, to be clear.
That's right. And all of these pieces. And so then it becomes if I'm not getting that, how can you help me do that? Now, it is I can't do it for you. It's a together thing. And yet that's when we look at accountability, it's not that parent kid wagging finger. It's you had a goal of doing this. What you did wasn't effective, or it was effective. And if it wasn't effective, do we need to discover what got in the way? Or because we want you to not just get what you want, we want you to enjoy life on the way to getting it. We're going to know the rule of thirds, right? Everything's not going to be fun and easy hunky dory, but that's the big piece. So sometimes I think we have to look at the way people see the word accountability and what they think it means. With that said, guys, we will continue to drop new
content.
Thank you, on Thursdays. Next week we are going to have Mr. Gordon,
Jeff Rowe. Man, I got some stories.
And he runs an insurance company. He's a dad. He's got some really cool.
His superpower is time blocking, and he defends that to a T.
Yes.
Even if you're his business partner.
Yes. So, absolutely. So then I had to get him on the podcast so that I could interrogate him about his business stuff. Yeah. So then and then the week after that, we're going to have Zach from ZB Electric. Super excited about having him on as well. Really cool guy. Really cool business, doing stuff that not anybody is doing in this area. And so stay tuned. And that's it.
Let's go. That was awful.
Okay, one more time. Let's go.
That was better-ish. Bye.